Hello, boys, and welcome to the Week 7 edition of the Big Rich Breakdown, where we go over the storylines and matchups going on in this week in the DFL. If you haven't already, please watch the recap of the show Dynasty Nation with Kev and Jim, where they broke down Week 6. We had some big things already happen this week, and the matchups are about to get started. So let's break it down. Sticking with tradition here and picking the dud of the week here on the Big Rich Breakdown. I will be picking this matchup, even though it's a little bit closer than maybe it should be, due to Andrew missing some key players due to this first bye week here. And by some key players, I mean a lot. But the good thing for Andrew's team is that his team is so stacked that he'll probably be able to overcome it anyway. And also that combined with the fact that Bob is a pathetic loser and is going full on for the tank for Bijan Robinson. I'm sure Andy will be able to pull out the win here. But still, let's break down the lineups. Now diving into the lineups here of Chrome Future and the saddest man, we got the quarterback matchup here, which is quite the ugly one, of Jimmy Garoppolo and Zach Wilson. Looking here at the running back matchup, we have a bunch of stars in Barkley, Henry, and Mixon, and then we got Jeff Wilson as well, who has been full throttle as the starter there in San Francisco, even though he played like complete garbage last week. Definitely some interesting matchups too, because they're all going against questionable defenses, so they could all pop off as far as Mixon, Henry, and Barkley go. So I think that we have to give the edge to Andrew here just because he has two of those guys where Bobby only has one. And Mixon also hasn't been that consistent this season. So definitely we'll give the running back matchup here to Andrew. Now the wide receiver cores of these two teams definitely don't look as they usually do, where we are missing Justin Jefferson for Andrew, as well as Stephon Diggs being out on bye weeks, and filling in we have Sutton and Pierce. But Debo is there to hold the fort for Andrew's wide receiver core. And then for Bobby, we got Reynolds, Gallup, and Elijah Moore, which is interesting because Elijah Moore has requested a trade. The audacity of that second-year scrub to do that when his team is winning. And even so, he was playing against Denver, who has been a good defense, so I don't know if he would have done much anyway. And Zach Wilson sucks, so I still don't know if he would have done much regardless, but now maybe they'll just bench him to punish him and he'll give him no points whatsoever. Gallup may have a big day because Detroit's defense has been pretty awful. And Reynolds, why not? Yeah, sure, he could give some points, but I think it's sure to say the fact that DJ, as Bobby calls him, Deontay Johnson, isn't in the starting lineup. He definitely wants to go for Bijan Robinson. And then for the rest of the team here, you kind of give or take each way. Who knows if Dobbins is actually going to play? Brian Robinson had an encouraging game last week because of the fact that he was starting. Numbers don't pop off the page, but still a solid kind of start to his career here after being shot. He came back in just 4 weeks, and it's looking like he's going to fully take that lead back position there in Washington. So maybe he'll have a big day today against that struggling Green Bay team. Breece Hall ran all over them last week, so maybe they're the same. And then defenses, the rest of this team here, I don't think it really matters all that much. I think it's really that running back matchup along with Debo that'll really give Andrew the win here, which is exactly what Bobby wants. Now, I was able to catch up with our commissioner, Andy Fems, and ask him what he thought about all his players being gone with the bye week this week, and who he thought was going to step up to help him secure this win. And boy, did he give a doozy of an answer.
So you're asking me who's going to step up? No Jefferson, no Diggs, no Josh Allen? Who's going to step up? Does it matter? Does it really matter? Because Bobby knows he has, really, honestly. Saquon, Derek, they're still here. Sutton's still here. Debo's still here. Alec Pierce, he's here. Brian Robinson, many men. They wish death upon him. Didn't matter. I'm not sweating a beat. Someone's going to show up, that's who.
Wow, an absolute juggernaut of an answer from a juggernaut of a team as Andy uses his commissioner powers to enter the show here live. Now, I did also reach out to Bobby because there have been some allegations about him tanking intentionally. So I wanted to get a word on that, but he was unavailable for comment at this time, which I'm sure will add fuel to the fire that these allegations are indeed true, maybe. Now on to a matchup that many people would have viewed as a gross one going into the season, but I actually view as pretty exciting, as we got the two overachievers, Gunnar Grogan and Bateman and Robin. Gunnar Grogan overachieving way more than Bateman and Robin, sorry ass, but still, nobody expected a 2-4 start from Jason. So let's break down these teams here and the Cinderella story of Gunnar Grogan. Will it continue this week, or will it be stopped by the team who doesn't want to win, Bateman and Robin? The breakdown for the quarterbacks matchup here, I'm just going to say their names. Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, that is all. And looking at the running backs, Rob's running back core of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and James Robinson really got off to a hot start that got the whole league talking. But they've really been floundering as of late. But, Clyde Edwards-Helaire always has that possibility of going off, even though Pacheco seems to be taking that lead back role. But, for everyone in that offense, really anyone can get a touchdown at any time with Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. And with James Robinson, ETN seems to have taken over the backfield. So we'll see if he can get some goal line work, maybe. But looking over at Jason's running back core, we got Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt. Breece Hall was one of the hottest commodities in all of fantasy football, especially Dynasty. He's looking like he might be one of those top RBs value-wise in all the leagues. So Jason's ecstatic about him. Looking at the wide receiver cores, you would definitely jump to Jason's side, as he's got C.D. Lamb, who's been playing pretty well going up against Detroit. Expected to have a big game against that defense. Bateman, who is coming back from injury, and even before that wasn't playing all that great in weeks prior against my Dolphins. He went off, and against the Jets. Yeah, but, Jason's going to need him this week if he really wants to get this win. And then Palmer, it really depends if Keenan Allen comes back to see if Palmer can continue to have his nice role there. And then we got on Rob's side, Tyler Lockett, Devontae Parker, and Hardman. Now, again, his receiver core doesn't look pretty, but it's been getting it done throughout most weeks here, or half of the weeks, you should say. And Lockett, besides from last week, has been a wide receiver one in fantasy. And then looking at the guys here that we have filling out the rest of the squads, really the main standouts here are the flex spot positions, where we got Dameon Pierce, who has, for the past 3 weeks, been absolutely killing it as one of the top RBs in fantasy. This rookie class of running backs looking really strong. As far as the big three goes, of Pierce, Walker, and Hall. And then Garrett Wilson for Jason, who, after that 30-point game, people really shot him to the moon as viewing him as like that guy, that next big wide receiver in fantasy. But ever since then, he's just put up back-to-back duds. Now, granted, the Jets' passing offense hasn't been that great since Zach Wilson has come back, and they've mainly been getting their wins by feeding the ball to Breece Hall. So while one of those things is a positive for Jay because he does have Breece, it also negatively affects him due to Garrett Wilson being here. But maybe they could pick it up this week against a bad Broncos team, but they are pretty good defensively. So maybe you shouldn't expect much out of Wilson. That being said, I do think it will be a close matchup, but I will give the edge to Bateman and Robin because Lamar Jackson and Breece Hall. Rob's team does have the potential to step up if those running backs do, but with them playing the past couple weeks, I just don't see it. Next, we got the battle of the two 1-5 teams. Two disappointing teams, actually, this season. Where there were a lot of teams like myself and Jason that were expected to be bad. These two teams were expected to be pretty competitive, and they're just not living up to the hype. So with Chicken Parmesan and the Evil Empire, the quarterback matchup here is two quarterbacks that have been disappointing. Now with Russell Wilson, he's been playing completely expectation for what he was going to be this season with what was expected to be a great offense. And it's definitely far from great. It's actually quite horrendous. Carmine might actually be better off starting Deshaun Watson, who is now facing his 26th allegation of sexual assault. And for TJ, he has Kyler Murray, who, while not nearly as bad as Russell Wilson's been, he still hasn't been performing up to the level that we expect him to with that rushing upside and that arm that he has. Maybe with Hopkins coming back, we get more consistent 20-point weeks. But 14 is just not going to cut it if TJ wants to get back to being competitive this season. And going over the running back matchup here, it's quite an interesting one as we got Jacobs and Etienne going up against Stevenson. And yes, I will butcher this name, even though he is a Dolphin. You can suck my dick, Mossert. I think we got to give the edge to Carmine here, solely on the fact that I think with Tua coming back, Edmonds' role is going to be boosted up a little bit, and Damian Harris is going to be coming back, which means Stevenson probably will not have as good of a day as he's had the past couple weeks. Even though it is against Chicago, he still can have a big day. I just would bet on Etienne and Jacobs to more so take control of their matchups. And then for the wide receiver matchup, we finally have Carmine putting DK Metcalf in, his least favorite player that he refuses to ever let him play. Finally getting a start. Hopefully DK will show him that what he's been missing with Cooks and Kirk. Going up against Jamar Chase, who had a huge game last week that we've all been waiting for. Juju, who finally did something. Got his first touchdown as a Chief. And then we got Hopkins, who's actually in the middle playing right now because I'm a scrub and recorded this late. But with 4 receptions and 5 targets already, it looks like he's well on his way to having a good game. And then looking at the rest of the rosters here, it's key players to look at would definitely be Melvin Gordon, the disgruntled Melvin Gordon, who apparently is hot ass because Denver doesn't want to play him. And then Drake London, who has had a tough couple weeks after having a really hot start. But maybe he's due for a big one. Now, I do think that this will be one of the closer matchups of the week, and it is very tough to pick. It's just going to be a gut decision here. I'm going to go with TJ to get his second win, just based off the fact that I'll expect Chase to have a big game. And Hopkins, to maybe put up a touchdown in this game that's playing right next to me right now. I'm definitely going to go with TJ here. Carmine, you're still going to be sucking eggs. There was also a huge trade that happened this week, and it is a trade that is not all that shocking, to be honest. But that being said, it is a pivotal moment in this season of the DFL where one team has fully given up on any hope of winning the championship after proclaiming for months that he was one of those teams. As Kevin gets rid of Tyreek Hill, the injury bug got to him, and he just fully threw it in on the season. Rather than trying to replenish what he lost with Javonte and keep going for it, he just truly had that Bobby Smith loser mentality and just sold on Tyreek. And on the other side, for Alexi, he really lived up to his name, and as if he wasn't already all in, he did fully once again go all in by saying, fuck the youth, fuck the draft picks. I want the guy that I traded away back. He traded Tyreek Hill away for Mike Williams and a first going into the season, and now he brought back Tyreek Hill. He missed him. There were rumors around the league that Alexi was laying in bed crying every night that he didn't have Tyreek Hill's production, and now getting him back kind of throws him up there into that top tier with Jim and Andy. I did reach out to Kevin for comment on whether or not this was a tough pill to swallow, being that he had been gloating about being a contender this year, and then to just kind of give up on the season like this and trade Tyreek Hill away. Here's what he had to say.
How hard of a pill was it? I mean, we're talking Tyreek Hill, the 29-year-old receiver who's elite right now, who knows how people are going to value him after this season. That was his biggest the biggest complaint by most of the league going into the year. Like, yes, the uncertainty on the new team. Clearly, it doesn't matter. Tyreek Hill is amazing. But, we play in a Dynasty format. Gets 1 year older. At the end of the day, I look at the value I got. And I think Chris Olave is a fucking stud. Soon to be superstar one day in this league. Not saying he is right now, but he's got all the upside in the world. Very, very happy to have him on my team as a very big foundational building block asset. And coupled with all the other pieces I got, I think, I'm looking around the league. I'm looking at some of these other teams. Like, you got the real big dominant top three, but that fourth team for that playoff spot is looking a little suspect right now. So I see this as a move that keeps me good enough this year, and also gave me a bunch of assets that will help me long-term way more than Tyreek Hill by himself and a lowly third would. So I don't see it as a tough pill. Obviously, it's not easy to move a player like Tyreek Hill at the end of the day, but I think big picture, and unfortunately most of this league is very, very short-minded when it comes to Dynasty, but that's expected. So yeah, I'm not struggling at all with it. I think as we can see, Tyreek Hill, great player. Chris Olave, great player himself, and he's 7 years younger. So yeah.
But all jokes aside, I do like this trade for both teams and the situations that they're going for. I do think that Kev gave up on the season a little too soon, but for his future 2023 outlook and forward, Olave is definitely a nice addition. Jamal Williams, can still keep him in the hunt this year, and Pacheco might be the future RB1 for Kansas City. So we'll see how that works out. And what made this deal even crazier is that they're actually playing each other this week. So it's almost like right when the week started, Kev just kind of waved the white flag to Alexi. But despite that, it looks like it still may be a good matchup here. So let's dive into it. So for the quarterback matchup, Herbert is going up against Seattle, who has actually been playing really great. Seattle has had some really good rookies on their defensive side of the ball. I don't necessarily know all their names because I'm not knowing scrub, but I know that their cornerbacks have been really productive so far this season. And Tom Brady, I do expect him to have an explosive week this week. Going up against Carolina, who is just a dwindling franchise, an absolute abysmal team, who needs to get CMC and DJ Moore out of there, just for their sake. If they had any kind of decency in their soul. Now, the running back matchup here is going to be Kev's saving grace here in this matchup if he has any chance to win. He does have his boys, Jonathan Taylor, back, and Swift. And Alexi is down Dalvin Cook to the bye week. So he's going to have Montgomery and Fournette. Now, again, that's still a good matchup. Taylor and Swift coming back from injuries and already weren't playing like themselves fully this season. So we'll see if they finally give us those explosive weeks. Alexi's got a real shot. Based on the fact that they haven't yet so far this season, I'm going to call it kind of a dead even running back matchup here. And then looking at the wide receiver matchup here, we do have Chris Olave playing right now, who is having an efficient game so far, 81 yards off of 4 catches. So looks like he's going to be having a good rest of the game here. And then Terry McLaurin and Hunter Renfrow, and all three of them, solid pieces definitely. They just don't really stack up to Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams, and Pittman on the Alexi side. So I think that the receiver side of this matchup will definitely go to Alexi. And then when you get to this half of the lineups here, the extras, I think you definitely see just how much deeper overall the starting lineup of Team All In is than Kevin's team, as he's got Godwin in the flex and Mark Andrews at the tight end position. Not to say anything like Hawk is horrible, not to say that Woods can't put up any points, because they definitely can, but Andrews is like tight end 1, and Godwin again, going into Carolina with Brady. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give this whole matchup to Alexi, which doesn't make me mad because I have Kevin's pick. So, keep those losses coming, buddy. Now, I was able to catch up with Alexi and ask him if he thought that this move really put him up there in that top tier with Chrome Future and Run CMC. He had an interesting answer for that. And I also asked him if he planned on making any other moves to maybe even surpass that level. And here was what he had to say.
Do I think adding Tyreek Hill puts me in a conversation with Jim and Andrew? I believe so. I think so. He's a great receiver. He can pop off anytime. I mean, he's been popping off in the past few weeks without Tua, so I think he should continue that this season. And do I see myself making any other trades in the season? I think so. I'm always looking to improve my team any way possible. So if you want to make a trade, let me know.
Next, we'll be diving into the battle of the 2-2-4 squads. Myself, Rags to Riches, going up against Justin's Fossil Fuel. And I think it's going to be a pretty exciting matchup, despite the fact that I have some important players on a bye. Let's dive into the matchup here. Now, I got Tua coming back from that brutal concussion that he faced, so I'm excited about that as both a Tua fantasy owner and the Dolphins fan. Going up against Patrick Mahomes, who I'm sure will have a great day, but he is going up against a San Francisco defense who's always tough, while Tua's going up against Pittsburgh, So I definitely a shot to have maybe even each other out there, but still give the matchup there to Justin. And looking at the running backs, we have Kenneth Walker and Tony Pollard for myself, going against Aaron Jones and Kamara. Now, Kenneth Walker looking like a true RB1 last week, going up against the Chargers defense this week, who has not been great to start the season against the run. So I'm looking for him to have a big day. He's my main hope of winning this week. And Tony Pollard going against that horrible Detroit defense. That it's going to be Dak Prescott's first day back. We'll see what Pollard's true role in this offense will be going forward. So I'm expecting a big day. And then we got Aaron Jones against Washington. I'm sure that he'll put up big numbers there, even though he has been slipping as of late. And then Kamara, who's playing right now, and that offense has been looking pretty stifled so far. So if he stays where he's at this measly 6.6, then I think I got a pretty good shot. And looking at the wide receivers here, we had Azor Ahayuk, the prince that was promised. Brandon Ayuk, who had a great game last week, putting up 20 plus points, 2 touchdowns. We got Claypool, who also had a great week last week, who may not have another great week like that, but I'm honestly not starting DJ Moore anymore. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, who had a pretty good debut where he got a touchdown, just easing his way into that offense, where they don't utilize the receivers all that much, but if they're going to start using one, Wan'Dale might be the guy. And then we got Mike Evans, who, is probably going to put up 2 touchdowns against Carolina, but, they have looked off as of late, so maybe he'll not have that great of a day. And then Waddle, who I'm expecting will have a big day with Tua coming back against Pittsburgh, and Cooper against Baltimore. I'm going to have to give the wide receiver matchup to Justin, just based on it's the safer bets. All my players here can boom and have a big week, but the safer bet is to go with Justin's side here. And then looking at the rest of the guys on the squad here, we got Njoku up against Ertz, who's not having that great of a game here. We got Eno Benjamin, who doesn't do anything crazy, but he's combining the score of Ertz and Kamara so far. So he's definitely doing enough to keep me in this matchup here, with Curtis Samuel opposing him in the flex. And then we got Jets and Miami kickers. I picked up the Jets defense, despite the fact that maybe I wanted to tank, but I just see so many losers in this league who just want to throw it away at the draft. And you know what? I'm gonna try and win, even if I'm not that great. I'm picking up this defense. Drop the championship winning Rams defense. Just for a chance. I had to pick up the Jets defense, and my guy Sauce is leading it. So, you know what? Just because of that, I'm feeling high and mighty that I'm not like these losers, and I really want to beat Justin because I have his pick. You know what? I'm picking myself in this matchup because Eno's going off right now. If Eno's playing well, no one thought that he would be anything, but you know what? I did. You know what? I think I'm going to be something this season too. So 3-4, call it here. I'm winning this matchup. Sorry, Justin. And then finally, here we have it, the matchup of the week. And boy, is it a doozy. We got Jimbo going up against DeVito. Run CMC going up against Chubby Stafford. The rematch of the championship from last year. And man, the battle of the gyms is sure to be a fun one. As if you look at the projections here, it's only separated by a point. Truly insane. Let's dive in here and see what we're looking at. All right, quickly just going through the lineups here before we do a breakdown of some key players. Quarterback matchup, we got Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Running backs, we got Christian McCaffrey and Elliott for Jim, and then for DeVito, we got Eckler and Chubb. For wide receivers, we got Amara St. Brown and going up against Keenan Allen. Higgins going up against Devontae Adams. Judy going up against Lazard. We got Kelsey going up against Kittle. We got Pitts going up against Dillon. We got Folk going up against Lutz. Oh my God. And we got Baltimore's defense going up against Green Bay's defense. There's tons of stars in this matchup. There is a star missing for Jim. Cup has been leading Jim all season. He is his absolute shining star. And he has to go into battle into one of the most important games of the season for him without him. But you saw the lineup I just listed. It may be enough, but let's just look at the key players to see why each side does have a chance in this. For Run CMC, it's going to be the guy that the team itself was named after, Christian McCaffrey, where, that offense is so horrible that their only chance of putting up any touchdowns whatsoever, any kind of usage from that offense is just go solely through Christian McCaffrey. There is no quarterback to even throw the ball. So expect a big day. It's probably going to be a blowout against Tampa, but he'll probably still have a good day because he is that guy. Another one of the most important players for Jim is definitely going to be Amara St. Brown, who, started off extremely hot for him this year. He did get hurt and then was not too productive before the bye week. But, he is coming back. They are going up against a strong Dallas defense. But that being said, he is going to need him to be Cooper Kupp-esque for Jim to win this matchup here and remain undefeated. Now, for DeVito, he is very fortunate that Devontae Adams did not suffer a suspension for that brutal, absolutely back-breaking push against that whatever it was, microphone guy, or whatever that scrub was. But, going up against Houston here, I think you could definitely expect a big day from Devonta. And, being that Brzezinski is missing his wide receiver one, I think it would be a big day for DeVito to step up here and, really show that he is that guy as well. And, maybe bring him to a win. I'm not even going to touch on the main two running backs for DeVito because we all know that they're the best 1-2 punch at the RB1 and 2 in the league currently. But I will touch on A.J. Dillon, who is going up against Washington. And, he's been putting up really pedestrian numbers for week after week after week after week. But, going up against the Commanders here, that whole Green Bay team needs a bounce back. And I think that, with the comments being made on the running game, I think that now would be a great opportunity for them to just give the ball to those guys, both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So I think there's potential for maybe a couple touchdowns for Dillon, or just, a lot more usage overall. So if DeVito can get that from Dillon, then he might actually win this matchup. And you know what? I'm actually going to pick DeVito to dethrone Brzezinski in this matchup here. Now just to recap on my picks for the week. For Rags to Riches versus Fossil Fuel, I'm picking myself. For Kev's TSM Taylor Swift McLaurin against I'm All In, I'm going for Team All In with the newly acquired Tyreek Hill. For Gunnar Grogan and Bateman and Robin, I'm going with Jason's Bateman and Robin. For Chicken Carm and the Evil Empire, I'm going for the Evil Empire, and Carmine will continue to go for those that top draft pick. For Andy's Chrome Future, I'm picking him to win up against the tanking saddest man. And for the matchup of the week, I'm going to go with DeVito's Chubby Stafford in a shocking defeat of the undefeated Run CMC. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for this episode of the Big Rich Breakdown. I'll see you again next week when we go over Week 8. If you haven't already, again, make sure you watch Dynasty Nation with Kev and Jim. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content, and keep following along with the DFL.